It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. What you see on the Sharp Interactive board, I got two logos. I got Lexmark over here. I got Konica over there. Above it, it says it's Lexmark buying Konica. Folks, I've heard in the marketplace, people are talking about Lexmark buying Konica. And every time I hear that, I'm like, are you people just crazy? First of all, it wouldn't be Lexmark that would be buying Konica. It would be Ninestar, who owns Lexmark, that would be buying Konica. And second of all, Ninestar is not buying Konica, in my opinion. But earlier, I don't know, maybe early last month, I did an episode and I was talking about the consolidation coming would be around manufacturing. I can honestly envision where Ninestar could become the manufacturer for Konica's print equipment. That could be a probability. But they don't need to buy them to do that. They just need to make the products, sell those products to Konica, let Konica go deliver them to the street. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what I think. A lot of my friends in the Document Image channel only see things one way. They just can't open their mind up and explore possibilities. In other words, they got to buy each other up. Why do they need to buy each other up? What needs to happen is consolidation of manufacturing. If they were going to buy each other up, they would have already done it when they actually had some value out there. Print's fallen off a cliff. It's going to continue to decline every single day. The OEMs are trying to get into other diversifications. All the Japanese conglomerates have diversified into a lot of other things that have nothing to do with print. And they've also diversified their print deliverables by offering DX strategies and things like that. We see All Covered as part of Konica Minolta. We see Konica Minolta saying, hey, we want to take All Covered, go global with that thing. They want to be an IT service provider to end users and businesses. And at the end of the day, as print continues to decline, outsourcing manufacturing is probably a pretty smart business strategy, and all the OEMs are going to be looking at this. Folks, they're all going to be looking at this. How do we lower cost? Remember the episode I did and I showed the employee count at HP? Over $60 billion in revenue with 50,000 employees. Do you think they do a lot of manufacturing? No, they don't. and ladies and gentlemen, that's where the industry's going. The industry has to consolidate this manufacturing. But I wanted to look a little bit deeper between Ninestar and Konica Minolta, and I've talked a little bit about some of this before, but I want to try to let this sink into my friends' heads, because when you think about Lexmark buying Konica Minolta, I just think you're thinking about this a whole different, you're thinking about it the wrong way. But let's look at Konica Minolta. Remember they had the meeting with Ninestar back in 2019? There's the picture. They're sitting there at the table. Okay? Do you remember when Konica Minolta was selling Lexmark A4s with the Konica name on them? We all remember that. Remember when Lexmark was selling some A3s with what? The Konica name on it? So Konica and Lexmark have a relationship. We know that Lexmark currently today, through Ninestar, is providing equipment to our friends at Xerox, is providing equipment to our friends at Ricoh, is providing equipment to our friends at Sharp. So Ninestar is already manufacturing for the OEMs. The question is, how much more are they going to manufacture for the OEMs? That's the only question. How much more are they going to manufacture for the OEMs? Will Konica Minolta be the first OEM to say, you know what? We're going to outsource all of our business print, and then we'll focus on the industrial and the high-end production. But Ninestar, you make all of our A3s, and you make all of our A4 business equipment. Does that not bring technology around A3 to Ninestar? Folks, I think this is a real probability, and it's not just from Konica. I think this is a real probability from a lot of folks. Look at Ninestar. I did their financials. I talked about this a little bit. But folks, think about this. If they stay at their current run rate, because the financials I did were based on their first half of FY 2022, but if they stick with that run rate, they're going to do $5.572 billion as a company. Lexmark alone is going to do $2.786 billion this year. Lexmark brings them a huge EBITDA, by the way, $138 million. I will say again that I really don't like looking at the Chinese financials, because we don't, they do things a little bit different over there. But at the end of the day, those are big revenue numbers. If you look at Konica Minolta, and think about what Ninestar has first. They got static control. They pretty much own the the space around toner and chips, and they're global. They got the Phantom brand. They got the Lexmark brand. Those brands are global. So their big giant factory up here, remember I showed you that? I talked about that. Their aspirations to be one of the largest OEMs of print equipment in the world. That aspiration ain't going away. It's not going away. They're trying to figure out how to accomplish that. But let's look at Konica Minolta. You know, their digital workplace where all that business equipment is, that's going to do $3.4 billion this year probably if they stick with their first quarter run rate. You know, their professional print, their industrial print sector up there, $370 million. You know, for the first quarter, the run rate on that is $1.48 billion. So Konica is a total of $4.88 billion in print. Keep in mind in that digital workplace number, that $3.4 billion is where All Covered lives and all the other stuff that Konica delivers into the marketplace to businesses. But could they outsource their manufacturing for the business print? Absolutely. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't Rico? Folks, this is going to happen. This is going to happen with some. It's just going to happen. It's a reality we all got to face. And I think that when you start hearing about who's going to buy who, we got to start thinking about who's going to allow somebody else to manufacture their equipment. And who's going to do that first. And then what are they going to do when they unburden themselves from the cost of manufacturing? Can they go out into the marketplace and really change the game for end users when they're not burdened by the heavy cost of manufacturing? I believe the answer to that is absolutely yes. And if you outsource all the manufacture to a couple of players, the video where I really talked about this, I think Foxconn's a real good position to be one of those major manufacturers. And Ninestar, they're already there. And the bottom line is, when the OEMs outsource all that manufacturing, what can they do as they relieve themselves of that high cost to do it? I think they can do a lot. And right now, we all know this. Everything about this industry, everything about the print industry, selling business print, selling production print, doesn't matter what it is. Everything about it needs to be looked at through a different lens. And we need to figure out, how do we make money off the decline of business print? How do we shift our services and our mindsets to those end users and become customer-centric over product-centric? And how do we cut costs so that we can grow our business for a continuous relevance? Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.